Okay, so this video is going to go over the basics of polynomial division. In order to do polynomial division, you have to remember the whole long division algorithm because it's really closely related to long division. So if I was to take and I divide 3 into, I don't know, 1, 5, 7, 3, sure. So if I was to divide that into there, what I would do is I would first ask myself, how many times does 3 go into 1? Well, it goes in 0 times. So then I say, how many times does 3 go into 15? Which is 5 times. And then I do 5 times 3, and I'm going to subtract that from there. And I get a 0, and I bring down my 7, and I say, how many times does 3 go into 7? It goes in twice, and 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm subtracting, and I get a 1, and then I bring down my 3, and I say, how many times does 3 go into 13? Well, 3 goes into 13 4 times, and that is 12. So I'd subtract, so I'd say that it is, so 3 goes into 1,573 524 times with a remainder of 1. And then if we wanted to, we could turn that into a decimal by doing 5, 2, 4, and 1/3. We just divide the remainder by whatever we're dividing. So that is foundationally the same thing we're going to do when we try to divide polynomials. So I'm going to just make a polynomial division problem up. So x plus 2 divided into, let's say, x squared minus 3x plus 5. Okay? So my first question is, and for these, I'm only going to focus on the x. The x is really what we're going to focus on. So what do I have to multiply x by? I need to multiply x by to make x squared. Well, I need to multiply it by x. And if I do that, I would be left with x squared. But if I multiply this x by there, I also have to multiply it here. So that would give me plus 2x there. And now, just like when I was doing this, how I subtracted the 15, I'm going to subtract. And what should happen every single time is we get a 0 there. And then here, if I subtract, so minus 3x and then minus positive 2x, that'd be negative 5x. And then I'm going to bring down my 5, and I'm going to ask myself the same exact question. This time I'm asking myself, what do I have to multiply this x by in order for it to equal negative 5x? Well, hopefully we see right away that I need to multiply it by negative 5. So then again, I multiply through and I would have negative 5x, and negative 5 times positive 2 is negative 10. And now all I have to do is subtract. And again, this turns to 0, which is what we want to have happen. And negative minus 10 is actually plus. So I would be left with remainder 15. So the polynomial division of this is x minus 5 plus 15 over x plus 2. So all we're doing is we're just dividing in those values. Let's try one more just to make sure we got this. Let's do x minus 1 goes into, I don't know, 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. Okay? So again, we start here. What do I have to multiply x by to make it equal to 3x squared? Well, I'd have to multiply it by 3 x's. And if I multiply that, I'd be left with 3x squared, and 3x times negative 1 is minus 3x. But again, because this is the division algorithm, I've got to subtract. So this becomes 0, and this is minus a minus, so it's actually plus. So I get just x, or 1x if I want to. I pull my negative 1 down, and I would ask myself the same question. What do I have to multiply this x by to make it equal to 1x? Well, I would have to multiply it by 1. Positive 1 would get me there. And if I do that, I would have x, and then positive 1 times negative 1 is minus 1, and I just have to subtract these. So that gives me 0 and 0. So there's no remainder. So it's remainder 0. So what that means is, first off, this is a factor of this. So because if I did x minus 1, wow, that's thick, times 3x plus 1, if I do that multiplication, I get 3x squared plus x minus 3x minus 1. So I get 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. So what we've actually found is we found one of the roots. We've done the polynomial division, and we've discovered that this is actually a root of that. Okay? I think if you look at this a couple of times, it'll make a lot of sense. Okay? Good luck.